Yo, y'all probably looking at this live stream like at the title like Madden 18 and 19. How you doing a Madden 19 review when Madden 18 just came out and Madden 19 ain't even thought of yet? Well, I tell you like this, man. The trend that Madden has set for me may not be the experience for you, but the trend that it has set for me is most likely it's gonna be, small little upgrades here and there, taking things out, putting it back in, calling it new, all that stuff like that. Um, you know, got my wife texting me here. Um, but really, I'm probably not gonna buy Madden 19. I'm probably gonna skip a year like I did with 17. And I did play 17. I borrowed it from my friend, but I did not buy the game. I just didn't see the need to, and I'm glad I didn't. But in this video, I want to talk about the good, the bad, and like I said, the scary. I'm not gonna have any video footage of anything on the field on the game. Like I don't want to jump into that again. Like it can become an obsession, a scary obsession, to where whenever you play the game, obviously I see so many things going wrong that, I could just stop and just make a video about a lot of different things, man. I don't even want to fall into that, man. I'm planning on, jumping into this podcast with Jiros and a couple other folks, and talking about some things about consumers and stuff like that, not just Madden or whatever. I don't want to be just on this this Madden train or Madden hate train or however you want to call it. But like I said, I just want to talk about some of the good things that I've saw with 18, and then jump into what I just don't care for in the game. Now, I got some stuff written down here. Like I said, I took a year off from 17 because 16 was another disappointment to me. If I had that itch to play football, then I would jump back on 16 while everybody was playing 17. And I looked up slider sets online. A lot of them were crap. I don't look for sliders to fix the game, just maybe change some of the consistencies on the field. But for the most part, man, I just kind of left Madden 17 alone. But I played enough of it to where I was just like, yeah, that's not for me. So this year I went and I got Madden 18. It's actually been a different experience from 16, no doubt. If you skip a year of Madden, you're definitely going to see a difference. Yo, sit down. You're definitely going to see a difference in Madden gaming or whatever. So like I said, took you off from 17 and now I'm in 18. But I want to talk about some of the good things. Apologize once again. There will not be any footage on the field, but I can get that for you if you really want that, just to back up what I'm saying. Now, what I see that's better, because before we get into the bad, I'm going to tell you exactly what I see that, when I look at the game, I'm like, okay, I see what they've done that makes this game a whole lot better than what it was in Madden 16 and 17. Now, the physics go both ways for me. We're talking about the good right now, so we're going to talk about the good physics. There are times on the field that I see the physics work wonders. I remember there was one play I had with Greg Olsen. I threw up a lob pass for him into double coverage, and this was in practice mode. That's what I like to do when I buy a game of Madden. I go to practice mode and I'll just get the feel of the new game, the new system or controls or whatever. I threw it up in the double coverage just to see, what he would do with it, and I actually caught the ball. There was a guy that hit him as he was coming down with the ball, and then there was a guy that hit his legs, and it caused him to flip. Now, he still held on to the ball, but at the same time, how the physics played out, I was like, that is beautiful. Also, whenever I'm running through the line, and let's say I'm running I formation ISO or dive play, and I'm trying to get through a small hole, there are times that physics will allow you to actually squeeze through certain areas. You might not get a lot of yardage, but you're actually able to squeeze through areas that in previous Maddens before you would just kind of fall to the ground lifelessly. You know what I'm saying? But I believe the Frostbite engine, on top of the Ignite, on top of the whatever, like all these other engines, I see a difference with the physics, but at the same time, like I said, there's the bad things, but we'll cover that later. They also work a little better when it comes to like gang tackling, double hit tackles, 3-man hit tackles. You'll see the physics play out pretty good sometimes too. Another thing, O-line, D-line interactions. Now, in Madden 18, I see the pocket play out a whole lot better than what it was in in 16 and 17. And the only reason I keep referencing 16 is because, like I said, after playing 17 for a little bit, like I just went back to 16 because I had it installed on my console. But yeah, 16, the pocket really wasn't even existent. But in 18, they actually do create a pocket, and they cause you to step up into the pocket. And this is a first for me in Madden, because usually you would just hike the ball, step back, and you keep stepping back so you won't get sacked or whatever. But, the pocket really didn't matter. But with Cam Newton, because I'm a Carolina Panther fan, I'm actually able to step up into the pocket. And if need be, I can take off for a few yards or maybe even a first down. So the O-line, D-line interactions, the pocket does form a lot of times. As far as I know Madden used to have a lot of missed blocks, and I mean bad. Like when you hike the ball, a right guard or left guard would just step to the side. It would just step to the side and allow the defensive lineman to come in freely. No line stunts, no anything, no trickery, no blitzes. It would just be a 4-man versus a 5-man rush, and a guy would just step to the side and let the D lineman come through. I see that a lot of that has been eliminated in this game, because it still happens. But like I said, I'll jump into that when I get to the bad side. But the O-line, D-line interactions, they definitely, there's a upgrade that I can see from 16 and 17. Another big thing that amazed me with this game was the reach tackles and the reaching period. I thought to myself that I would never see anything like this in Madden, in a football game, period. The fact that, if a DN rides the offensive tackle out, like somebody like Von Miller who's fast, they can actually ride the offensive lineman around to where they can reach out and grab the QB. And I thought, that's amazing. I actually had Luke Kuechly on a blitz one time. He came through the line freely. Their running back stepped up to block Luke Kuechly, but he was I can't remember, it was a small running back. I can't remember who I was playing against. But Luke Kuechly hit him, drove him back to the QB because he's obviously stronger, and he reached over the running back and grabbed the QB and brought him down. I thought that was one of the most amazing things I have seen in a football game, period. Point blank, period. So kudos for putting that in the game. I've always wanted reach tackles. I've talked about that for years. Did I think they will put it in the game? No, I never thought they would, But the fact that it is in there, the linemen do actually try to reach out whenever a running back is running through these gaps. A lineman will reach out and grab, and sometimes they succeed. And I thought that was definitely a plus for this game. Also, size and weight. Now, size and weight hasn't always mattered in Madden. We know that. But in this game, I noticed that a lot of things are different. it's not just the you know that certain power backs in previous games of Madden, they used to have a trait that would make them fall forward. It didn't really matter what size you were. If you had this trait, you would fall forward. But now I notice, running with Christian McCaffrey and running with Jonathan Stewart, obviously those are two different caliber of backs, or different types of backs. While Ed McCaffrey is more elusive and Jonathan Stewart is more of a power back. He gets his yardage after contact mostly. Whenever I run with Jonathan Stewart up the gut, a lot of times he will push his way forward. He will fight his way forward. And, that's when the physics and stuff playing. I thought that was pretty cool, man. I thought, just because I saw the difference, because if I ran with Christian McCaffrey up the gut, then a lot of times I would get hit and they would immediately stop my progress, completely halt me. There is really no fighting forward for the most part. It is Christian McCaffrey. If you bring your little ass through here, you're going to get hit, and that's it. Jonathan Stewart, on the other hand, if I bring him up the gut, he's going to take 2 or 3 guys down with him, and he's going to fall forward for those extra 2, maybe 3 yards, 4 yards. So size and weight, man. Wide receiver DB interactions, obviously they are better. It ain't like 16 whenever they had their OP aggressive catch. And obviously they've toned that down ever since then. But I like the wide receiver DB interactions. There are times where I think my receiver would come down with a ball and the DB would just be all over it, knocking it out of his hand or tipping it up for the defense to come and intercept it. And they've had the same thing in Madden 17 or whatever, but I'm glad that they kept that going. You'll see these guys jostling or whatever for the ball, and I think that can definitely still be worked on and upgraded to where you're seeing these wide receivers jostling all the way down the field, because sometimes you see that in football. But like I said, from what they have so far, it's nice, because it really hasn't been in a game of Madden until recently. Running back O-line interactions. When I was talking about Jonathan Stewart falling forward, now you're able to squeeze through the tiniest holes, and fight your way forward. Doesn't work all the time, but now instead of them dropping dead like they got shot all the time, you'll see these running backs, they'll actually run into their offensive linemen and fight their way forward. And I thought that was because that's how it's supposed to be. If you run into a wall of your offensive lineman, you're not just supposed to lay on their back lifelessly, or you're not supposed to just fall to the ground. You're supposed to push those guys, and all of you guys at the same time push forward and fight forward for those extra 2-3 yards. And you'll see that in this Madden. QB dropbacks, obviously I'm a very big fan of the dropbacks. They had those in 2K when I played 2K5 and 2K8 or whatever. But they're in this game now. That's definitely a step in the right direction. Ball physics. They can be a little weird at times, but at the same time, they do play out pretty good. Whenever you punt the ball doesn't just, when it hits the ground, it doesn't just fly into the end zone every time. Sometimes the ball actually bounces back. Because I know in Madden before, it was a rare instance where you would see the ball bounce back, and then the team come down the field and catch the ball and mark the opposing team at the 1 or 2 yard line. You really didn't see it that often in Madden, but now the ball will actually bounce back. Even whenever balls are tipped up now, you'll see the ball bounce off of legs, helmets, anything that's tangible, the ball will bounce off of. And so sometimes you'll see some crazy interceptions, but at the same time, That's the type of stuff that we ask for in football gaming, So the ball physics are definitely a plus. And another thing, this might be small, and this just may be me, but the hits in the game sound a lot more impactful, and I like that too, because I remember in the PS2 days, whenever you got hit, it was just a bow, and then it would just make you just cringe. You sitting there playing your PS2 or whatever, PS1, even though the animations weren't great on PS1, you would still hear the impact of the hit. Bow! Some of them didn't sound realistic, but it just gave you that feel of football. Like, damn, he just got fucked up. So in Madden 18, man, the hits do sound a lot more impactful from what I hear. And, like I said, that's something small, but, that's definitely a plus for me. I'm just a realist when it comes to football, but it can also be a curse too, and I will explain that. So that's what I like about the game of Madden, but now I want to get into the bad. And this is where the bad is enough to make me not buy Madden 19. It's enough to make me not buy Madden ever again until someone credible came to me and said, yo, Madden is legit. Go pick it up. I'm like, okay. But so far, the issues, legacy issues, the same issues that have been in Madden 2007, 2008, Xbox 360 days. Some of those issues are still in the game. And it is fucking ridiculous. Some of these issues, I'm not even sure if they can fix it at all, or I'm not sure if they can fix it on this current engine. Because I've seen videos of guys, catching balls through people's bodies. And it happens in sports gaming, man. Like, you see it in basketball, you see it in, soccer games, you see it, but and that's another thing. I'm not even sure these sports games, period, can achieve this 100% tangibility. I know that's been a big thing on Twitter and on these videos. We need ball tangibility. We need, all this tangibility. I don't know because it's not real life, I don't know if they can actually achieve that. I don't know if you can go into a game and never see anybody's hand go through somebody's arm or a ball go through somebody's chest or something like that. I don't know if you're ever going to see that, man. Maybe on PlayStation, when the PS5 or the PS6 comes out, maybe you can achieve that, but I don't know, man. Somebody prove me wrong. But anyway, the issues. Warping. Warping is toned down. It's not like it used to be. I tell you that shit, because I used to see motherfuckers warp 5-10 yards up the field for a block. That shit was terrible. But now there are times where I'm running the ball and a linebacker will have a clear-cut lane at me, but somehow my offensive lineman is able to make this quick warp to where he can just block him and then I can continue on upfield, man. And obviously that's a good look for me or whatever. But at the same time, like that's the type of stuff that I don't really care for, because I didn't achieve those extra yards. Like, only reason I got them is because, my guy warped to a linebacker, and it could happen to me too. The computer I could be ready to hit stick him, and then the offensive lineman warp straight to me, and he's going upfield. That's a game changer, man. One thing that's scary, that was just a bad thing. This is scary. Clueless AI. There are so many videos on Clueless AI. And Clueless AI is a general thing. Like, there's so many different types of videos that you can put out there for clueless AI that it's insane. And for a game to be a Madden 2018, 2017 game, yo, there are AI on the field that won't even jump into play. They'll be running up the field. There's guys, I'll go into an animation, you'll see the AI just start walking around. The whistle ain't even been blown. The play's still going. Guys will just be walking around on the field like the play is over. Clueless AI. You got guys who will run away from me. I'm on a sweep, and instead of coming at me at a certain angle, I've seen guys stop and run away. And I'm like, what the hell? I thought I'm the ball carrier. We still playing football, right? You trying to tackle the ball carrier, right? Why the fuck are you stopping and then running in another direction when I'm trying to run upfield to get these yards or potentially a touchdown? That don't make no sense. But there are so many videos. I could make so many videos. You could just type it in on YouTube. There are so many videos on clueless AI. AI who they don't know who to block, or maybe they won't even try to block. Clueless AI. I can go on forever about that. Man, this is another thing that's bad. Poor tackling. Poor and sloppy tackling. Now, we all know in real life, there are extraordinary runs. There are extraordinary running backs that have broken out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tackles. You know what I mean? Marshawn Lynch, beast mode. Dude be breaking out all types of tackles. But at the same time, when I say sloppy, I mean I have Christian McCaffrey. I'm running upfield. I got two guys, one on the left side of him, one on the right side of him. They both come in to make contact at the same time. One guy, the first guy comes into, he transitions into this animation to make this tackle to Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is strong enough to where he can break that. But the other guy, I'm expecting him to clean up the play. But guess what he does? Instead of trying to tackle him, he just lays on him lifelessly. And it's like, it seems like whenever it becomes, or it changes from a single hit tackle, when it becomes a double, triple, the tackle won't even look good. The tackle will be there sometimes, but the tackle won't even look good. The first guy, the animation will look great, but the second, third, fourth guy, you'll see these guys they'll just run into him, and there'll be like a collision, like an explosion, and everybody will just die and fall over. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, that shit is so sloppy. Instead of these guys hitting and making tackles, all they do is they run into each other and they fall lifelessly to the ground. What the fuck is that shit, man? And that's supposed to be your multiple hit tackle. And, the tackle can be there, but at the same time, it just looks bad. And then there's times where, like I said, the poor tackling where a guy, Christian McCaffrey, he was supposed to be tackled by these two guys, but the other guy just wants to lay on him. And then Christian McCaffrey just keeps running, and the guy just slides off. He didn't even try to tackle him. So it's like, it's not consistent. Sometimes you get good tackles. Sometimes you get sloppy tackles. Sometimes you get poor tackles. And it's not consistent. It just looks bad. Zone coverage. Zone coverage. Zone coverage is a basic core element of football. Fucking sports, period. Zone fucking coverage. The game is released, zone coverage, the game is released with the coverage being shit-tastic. A patch comes out where the zone coverage is supposed to be better. I can I can see that it's been tweaked, but it's still shit. It is still shit. As a matter of fact, I've been playing with sliders because I like to see different consistencies. I have my pass reaction slider and my pass coverage slider all the way up to 100. Max the fuck out. It's still broken. It is still broken. And swing routes from running backs, forget it. Forget it. I don't care what you do. The only way you're stopping a swing route is if you run man. And even man is questionable at times because they play so far off of the running back that, you know, when he actually catches the ball from the swing route, he still has room to make plays. Now, cover two, anything. If you're at least cover two is remotely close at stopping it. But if you're running anything other than cover two, oh, best believe that swing route is going to be open all the fucking time. I don't care what coverage you use, that swing route is going to be open like 90% of the time, man. To the point where you have to use that shit. But the zone coverage is broken. And if you're playing that shit out the box, man, you're going to see a lot of fucking broken ass zone coverage. Well, guys, I'm talking about like I can have a player run a post route while I have a safety and a linebacker playing towards the sideline, and they still, even if that receiver is the only receiver in the area and they don't have to worry about nobody else, they will still not play that receiver. It is so easy to score. And vice versa. When you're playing the computer, best believe, unless you get an interception or a sack, best believe, man, they're going to catch that shit. They're going to catch that shit. They're going to be wide open. It don't matter who the hell it is. I've had Jay Cutler throw 300 plus yards on me, 400. Quarterbacks with no name. And I had to go back and change the sliders because, you know, a lot of, like, you get a lot of time in that pocket. And I had to knock the pass blocking down on both sides, on my end and the computer's end, because you can't really get pressure like that. And when you got time in the pocket with broken coverage, oh my God. Man, you looking at games as like 40 plus points. Both teams got 40 plus points. Not saying that that's not possible, but a lot of times that really doesn't happen. But I'm talking about teams putting up crazy numbers, man. Crazy fucking numbers. And then you mix that along with people who like to cheese the game and they have money plays and shit. Oh, forget it. Forget it. That's a scary thing right there, zone coverage. That's fucking scary. Physics. I talked about the good. This is the bad with the physics. Man, you'll see times where dudes' arms look like they're supposed to be broken completely off, and they're still holding on to the ball. I'm talking about like dude will be running through the hole, and he'll have a ball like this, and it'll be wrapped around somebody's head, but he still somehow got the ball in his hand. Yo, that shit is fucking crazy. But other than that, man, other than the physics looking, you know, guys looking like their arms are broken and stuff like that, the physics aren't that bad. It's just how the game will play out and the wacky animations and stuff like that, and how the guys just fall lifelessly to the ground. That's where it gets weird. Missed blocks. Like I said, it's a whole lot better. You don't see a lot of missed blocks. You know, if you do see missed blocks, a lot of times it's because, you know, there's a blitz and the linebacker may be faster than that offensive lineman, so he's able to run around him and get to the QB freely. But, you know, there are instances where your offensive lineman will just let somebody go by. And I think that's just in the code. That's just the engine. You know what I'm saying? Madden has been sitting on that same engine and then piling engines on top of engines on top of engines. until you got this sloppy, goofy mess or whatever. The ratings. This year was supposed to be the simulation arcade in the competitive mode or whatever. I've played all three modes. There are slight differences, but it's not that much of a difference. In simulation mode, I'm expecting certain things because they said the ratings are supposed to matter. If you bring a second or third string QB in, you're supposed to feel like this second or third QB string quarterback is in. I have not felt that. I can bring a second string QB in. I can still throw touchdowns against good defenses. I won't overthrow passes. And I had to change the sliders on that too. I had to knock the QB accuracy down because, I was completing too many passes. Not saying that you can't have a game to where I know fucking Phillip Rivers or Tom Brady, one or the other, they just had a game where they threw like, it might have been like 26 out of 22 or something. I'm not saying that you can't have a game with good completion ratings, but I'm talking about every game I would go in, I was just hitting them dots. Bap. Hitting them. Laser right to the receiver every time. Bap. Bap. Precision passing. But yeah, those ratings, I still feel like they don't matter to a certain extent, and that's why I had to change sliders, because the sliders will make the ratings come into effect a little more, but for the most part, you're not gonna see much or whatever. Same thing with simple things like the speed threshold. I got guys on there that are 82 speed catching guys that are 89. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's I had to drop that down because it's not real. A guy that much slower than that person is not going to catch him. But yeah, so ratings, I can still play with that more to test that out more, whatever. But for the most part, it still seems the same to me. Also, another thing that this is my experience. The run holes are kind of big, like huge. While I hike the ball and run a dive play, and the hole will open up so fucking wide to the point where it's like, damn, like I don't even have to try. And I know Carolina's offensive line is not that great. They're all right, but they're not that great. Pass blocking or run blocking, they're really not that great. And then you add that along with the juking, which I feel maybe OP as well. Christian McCaffrey is considered a superstar caliber of player in the connected franchise, which means he develops a whole lot more faster than your average player. So a lot of his ratings are high. When I go on the field, let's say I run a counter, a stretch, anything running a sweep, anything running to the outside, if I come in contact with 1, 2, 3 defenders and I pull one simple juke, a lot of times I'm able to juke all 3 of them or 2, like it's to the point where I understand he's elusive. I get it. That's what those shifty guys do in open space. But it's almost like the jukes are almost like an AoE effect. And what I mean by AoE is it's like an area of effect. If you've played an RPG game and you do a certain move to where, let's say you throw a fireball in a certain area and everybody in that vicinity of that attack will be burned or something like that. And that's what, an area of effect is, if you didn't know. But it's kind of like that in Madden. If I go into an area of 2 or 3 players, and let's say I perform a spin, perform a juke, back juke, whatever juke, I go into an area of 2 or 3 guys, I perform this juke, and regardless of if the juke made sense or not, it just seems that everybody in the area will fall. Even if the juke made no sense. Even if I spun to the side that the guy was actually going, or if I juked to the side that the guy was actually running to tackle me, he would still fall because it wasn't that he was juked by my movement, me all of a sudden changing my direction from right to left very quickly. It was just the fact that the computer thought that, hey, he inputted a juke. He pressed the juke, and his juke number is higher than my tackling or awareness number, so I have to fall. And that's, that's how, and it looks sloppy, man, because a lot of times, like, it doesn't make sense, man. But for the most part, man, when it comes to Madden, the last thing I want to talk about is the bugs and the glitches. The bugs and the glitches are so out of control that, people may ask, well, how often do these bugs and glitches happen? It's like I see something new like every other game. Every other game I see something new. And it's stuff like, and it makes me think like, is this game being tested? Like who is putting out this game and saying and playing it enough? Because if, all it takes is for you to play 5 to 10 games. That's all it takes. And you're going to see an abundance of things. You can see numerous issues. Just yesterday, I was playing, and for some odd reason, I've never seen this in a game of Madden. For some odd reason, every time the computer would punt the ball, we all know what a punt does. They were kicking the ball off because obviously we failed to make the first down. We're kicking the ball off to put the opposing team in the worst field position that they can get, so the defense can come in and put in work. But for some reason, the punter, instead of kicking the ball all the way down the field to maybe put me in the 20 or maybe put me within the 10, hell, even 30, they would kick the ball up high as fuck every time. Boop, boop, boop. You see the target on the ground, it'll be like on the 40 or the 50, right on the NFL logo. Boop. And, of course, my computer player is going to run up to that target. But when the punter kicks the ball straight up and it's coming down towards the line of scrimmage where the offensive line and defensive line is tussling, of course, if I run up and try to catch it with all those people being there, most likely I'm going to muff the ball and the computer's going to get it. So I have to manually, when the player runs up to catch it at the target, I have to manually remove my player from the target and let it just hit the ground. And I just keep wondering, and it happened 3, 4, 5 times. Like every time they punt the ball, it would just boot it up to the roof. We're not trying to kick it downfield. We're just trying to kick it high as hell. And I'm like, why the hell does the computer just keep doing this? And it doesn't make any sense. And you just wonder, like, what the fuck? Like, what is wrong with this shit, man? It doesn't even make no damn sense. Another play, I was playing against, who the fuck? The Dolphins, I believe. Thomas Davis is supposed to be guarding the slot receiver. For some reason, Thomas Davis, before the play even starts, I'm talking about when we're breaking the huddle, Thomas Davis is laying on the ground. And he just laying there. The motherfucker laying like this. I ain't never seen that shit in Madden in my life. This motherfucker is laying on the ground like this. I'm looking at this motherfucker like, get the fuck up. I'm trying to switch to him. I can't switch to him. He just laying there like this. Dolphins don't give a fuck because they hike the ball. Guess who's wide the fuck open? The slot receiver. The one that fucking Thomas Davis was supposed to be guarding. Guess what happened? He got a fucking touchdown. Now, you cannot tell me that, oh, that only happens one time. It don't matter. This motherfucker got 7 points on me. He got 7 points on me, man. 7 points that he wasn't supposed to have. And that's frustrating when you're playing a video game because, nobody likes to be cheated when they playing a video game. But there's a lot of bugs that happen with this game, man. You see stuff like, the quarterback will get hit and he's falling to the ground, but the football will still somehow shoot out of his hands and still go to the receiver. Like, that's what we're talking about. You're seeing these little videos online where these guys will when they're stumbling for some reason they can't be tackled. You'll see like 8 or 9 guys trying to tackle this one guy, and they'll all just be doing this shit, just laying on the motherfucker, and then the guy will just break out and just cut loose for a touchdown. How? How are these bugs and glitches getting through this shit, man? On top of all the gameplay issue that it already has, it has bugs and glitches. And on some real shit, usually bugs and glitches in video games can be overlooked depending on what type of game it is, But Madden has been consistent with bugs and glitches for years now. And the first time you may see it, you may laugh. You may say, ha ha, look, we got a little tiny titan on the field. Ha ha, look, my players running down the field and nobody can tackle them. Ha ha, look, Thomas Davis is laying on the ground. Ha ha, you may think that shit is funny. Second time that happens to you, you may get mad. And some people get extremely mad to the point where they're like snapping their PlayStation disc in half. And I mean, that's a little extreme, but at the same time, I paid $65. I paid my hard-earned money for this copy of Madden. And, just to sit down after a nice day, like, man, you know what, man? I just got off work. Let me crack a beer, play a game of Madden, play some, connected franchise or online mode. And you turn your shit on, and guess what, man? Motherfucker is laying on the field, and they just scored 7 points and won the game. Now you mad as fuck. Now you ranting at EA, and you putting out rant videos. That's how all these videos and shit start. But I'm just saying, man. That's just been what Madden is. It's just been consistent. And like I said before, it's just because this game, I believe, is on that same engine. They're not going to take a year off. Not going to do that because they make too much money for the game. But all these issues that I'm talking about, man, I've been talking about for years. A lot of people have been talking about for years, man. You see it in these videos, these Madden videos on Twitter where they clowning the game and stuff like that. But people get mad because of that reason. But the bad in the game is enough to outweigh the good, to the point where it can spoil it. Now, it depends on how you look at the game. Some people will look at this game and just be like, yo, this game is the shit. This game is perfect. Somebody told me on Twitter that there's like, if you playing this game like real life, then you're not playing Madden right. And I was like, wow, the way it's advertised is, what you see on Sundays, This is the only modernized football game that we have that with the NFL license. It's not NFL Blitz, because last time I checked, games like that were like NFL Blitz or NFL Extreme or, NFL Street. Those are the games that you just get on and you just bullshit. But this game, I actually, I try to play it as realistic as possible. I still understand that it's a video game, so I'm not expecting for 100% likeness for each player. But at the same time, I still don't want to see players not being able to be tackled and zone coverage completely broken to where they can run the same play down the field 100 times and get 7 touchdowns with one player. Like, that's who the fuck wants to play a game like that? I'm not 8 years old anymore, so I'm not trying to fucking create a player that's overall 99 that can just run over everybody and do it. Like, no, that's not fucking fun to me no more. You know what I mean? I want to play a game to where, the ratings matter. The game is consistent. And, even if there are a few bugs here and there, whatever, long as the game is consistent. But the game, to me, is still not where it needs to be. And so, you know, Madden 18 I probably will have for a while. And while y'all playing Madden 19, guess what I'm going to be playing? Madden 18. And when you get Madden 20, guess what I'm going to be playing? You guessed it, Madden 18. Until somebody tells me like, hey man, you know, this game is legit this year, I don't want to go through the heartache, man. I don't think I've, you know, the 65 that I paid, or the $60 because I downloaded it digitally, the $60 that I paid for Madden is not worth that. It's not worth that. But anyway, man, I've been on here for too long, man. I wanted to do this live thing, and just talk about my review. I think one long review instead of fucking an abundance of videos is way better. But like I said, I'm supposed to be doing this podcast. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things about gaming in general. You know, stepping outside the realm of the so-called football community and just talking about gaming in general, and not stuck on one thing. Talking about being a consumer. And I think it's going to be very interesting. A lot of guys that I'm doing it with share the same mindset, and I think that we will press forward, and I think we'll have a lot of good times. So join us. I think we're going to be trying to hopefully post something this weekend, man. But if not, I apologize. We'll do something soon, man. Once again, man, it's your boy Resolve, man. I got mine. What's yours?